It was a dark and soundless day near the end of the year, and the clouds were hanging low in the heavens. All day I had been riding on horseback through the country with little life or beauty, and in the early evening I came within the view of the House of Usher. What's good, everybody, and welcome to Buddy Bag Podcast. I'm Chris Thomas, and with me, as always, Broke Grider Dave.
How we doing, everybody?
1 year ago, around Halloween time, two series came out that kind of got me through the Halloween season. One of them was the Goosebumps,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty okay, and the other one was the House of Usher, Fall of the House of.
House of Usher. Yep.
Yep, and that snuck up on me because my sister came to visit one day, and we were like, "What's something we can watch?" And she had mentioned that. I had vaguely heard about it, but I had no idea that it was by our boy Mike Flanagan.
I heard about this like months before it came out. I heard Mike Flanagan was doing a series based on Edgar Allan Poe. I was like, I'm all in on it.
And it's funny because when I heard, oh, they're making a Fall of the House of Usher kind of series, my first thought was, that sounds lame. It's probably going to be awful. And then when I heard, oh, Mike Flanagan, I was like, oh, never mind. I'm 100% on board checking this out.
Yeah. Well, it's Mike Flanagan. His shows are kind of either super good or they're just okay.
But he hasn't made like a stinker.
No. I can't say there's one where I'm like, yeah, I actively disliked it.
Now, this is going to be a little different because this is the first time we're breaking down a series.
Yeah.
Not including the Fear Street trilogy, but
Yeah.
this is going to be our first. How many episodes are in one? Are in the whole thing? Is it 8?
8.
And so we decided, all right, we're gonna do a two-parter because me and Dave had watched this when it came out, and we thought, all right, some time has passed. Do we still feel the same as we did last time? Do you want to give your initial thoughts of what you thought when it first came out?
Well, when it first came out, I was like, I thought this might be Mike Flanagan's best work.
It was up there with. It was competing with Hell House for me, or Hill House rather. Sorry.
Hell House, yeah. I was saying he didn't do Hell House, but yeah.
Sorry. It was competing with Hill House, Haunting of Hill House for me in terms of my favorite work by him.
Yeah, he very expertly took stories from, yesteryear, long time ago, and modernized them in a way that was entertaining to watch, but also didn't take away from,
The material.
the source material of it.
Now, I figured the way we can do that, we can bring back something that we did back in season 3 and 4, where since we have 4 episodes here, and to keep us on track, I got the episode breakdowns like in my hand right here, so we can break it down from what it says on their own episode guide, and then just kind of give our thoughts and like our paraphrasing of what for anyone who is not familiar, The Fall of the House of Usher is an Edgar Allan Poe work. Like already, I knew that a lot. If you like horror and you usually like Edgar Allan Poe, you're gonna probably end up liking this.
Yeah. Basically, if you're really into like gothic horror, this is right up your alley.
And starting off, we have now who are the Ushers? The Ushers. Now, I've never read the original source material, so I can't really say how like faithful this is like to the source material.
Yeah, I've never read the House of Usher from Edgar Allan Poe.
But this isn't just about the Fall of the House of Usher. This whole thing, like the movies have like
multiple stories. Yeah.
Yes, anything from like so. If you just like well, all I know is the Raven. They'll have something in there for you. I'll have a little Annabelle Lee for you. So how about why don't you get us kicked off with the first? No, I got the thing here. Oh, let's get us kicked off with the first episode here. I'll go ahead and just kick it off here. Roderick,
1,
yes.
Midnight Dreary.
A Midnight Dreary. So you already see here, Roderick Usher, the corrupt CEO of Fortunato Pharmaceuticals. Already, that sentence alone right there, Fortunato, you would know that from Cask of Amontillado.
Yep.
Has lost all 6 of his children. His heir, Frederick, entrepreneur Tamerlane, surgeon Victorine, gaming Mongol Napoleon or Leo, his PR head Camille, and socialite Prospero. He has 6 children. All of them were born into wealth. And they're exactly as douchey as you would think. This movie goes to great length to make you know you're not going to feel bad for anybody by the end of all these. I'll just say this. No. Roderick, we're at a church right now, and Roderick is attending at the time of the beginning of this episode. His last child has just passed away.
Yeah, his funeral was his oldest 3 went for the last 3 to die.
Yep. He attends the funeral of his oldest three, accompanied by his sister and Fortunato COO Madeline, his wife Juno, and his granddaughter, who is the teenage daughter of Frederick and Lenore.
Or
And
Nathan.
yes, and his lawyer Arthur Pym, who, if I'm not mistaken, Arthur Pym is that was old Luke Skywalker, right?
Yeah, that's played by Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill. A lot of familiar faces here. I'm not going to go by the actors ones. I'm just
Yeah.
going to go by the names of their characters, and just in this one.
Really good cast in this
Yes.
series.
So basically, everybody's there attending this funeral. It's the last of Roderick's children. His sister's there. They both created Fortunato Industries from the ground up. And
Did they though?
yes, well, that's the story. I mean, they have a, oh, or is it?
Well,
We'll see.
it was founded by other. Yeah,
So and his lawyer slash enforcer is there, and all around him as the funeral's going on, he just sees the bodies of his deceased children. He's hallucinating and seeing his dead children, and they look fucked up. One of them looks skinless, another one's disemboweled. They look like how they looked when they died.
yeah,
So already you're setting up, and you're like, holy crap, what's going on here? And
yeah. There's a lot of foreshadowing in this show.
so we go from that to an old house. Roderick invites his nemesis, Assistant U.S. Attorney C. August Dupin, to his child home to confess his crimes and reveal the reason behind his children's death. Now that sounds weird, like confess his crimes. What is he talking about? And according to the news articles, we know what happened to his children. The deaths of his children have been all over the news. We know how his children died, but supposedly Roderick is like, that's not really how it happened.
Yeah.
I will tell you. He invites his quote-unquote nemesis over for one last interview and a confession. And this is pretty much the format of the rest of the movie, is being told as a confessional.
Yeah, basically we're getting everything for the last couple weeks from Roderick's point of view, as he's kind of like confessing his sin.
It's like that old saying, like, I'm just an old man looking back on his mistakes, kind of thing. And so, first off, I've been trying to think who would be a good comparison, modern day comparison to like of the Usher family. Like so that people can kind of like get an idea, like a modern day this family. But then again, you'd be calling a bunch of family douchebags. I mean, in terms of like
Probably
power.
the Kardashian family.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like in terms of fame.
Yeah, but the Usher family, they actually do some work, unlike the Kardashians.
Yes, they're well. Some of them are influencers. Some of them, they all have like their own pet projects.
Yeah,
But they've never really had to struggle to get anything that they needed.
yeah,
In fact, they're even given like a good chunk of money once they get to a certain point to see what they'll do with it.
well, they got to pitch an idea to get that money.
Yeah, it has to go by Roderick first, but they'll get funding for their pet projects if it gets past the planning stage and
Yeah.
Roderick. So yeah, fine. We'll consider them a modern day pharmaceutical. If the Kardashians owned a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah,
So Dupin's coming to his childhood home and he starts confessing the crimes, and it goes all the way back to 1962. In 1962, Roderick and Madeline's mother Eliza was buried prematurely after appearing to have died of illness, and dug herself out of the grave to kill her abusive employer and I believe lover, wasn't it?
yeah.
She was
The
basically
father
sleeping with
children,
her boss.
yeah,
And the kids go to them at first thinking she's been loyal to this guy. I don't know if they knew to what extent, but because at the time when they were kids,
yeah,
like Madeline probably did. But
yeah.
they're thinking, oh, if we go to her employer, he'll definitely like help her because she's been like, nope. He said, don't you ever come around here,
Yeah,
But mom digs herself out, and she didn't like. She apparently she had some hard feelings about being buried prematurely,
yeah,
and she kills her abusive employer, the Fortunato CEO William Longfellow, who turns out
next to him. Yeah,
is their biological father, which would technically make them the heirs to Fortunato Industries
Yeah,
or pharmaceuticals. In the present day, we see a trial that begins to hold the Usher family responsible for the deaths of thousands of people who were taking Fortunato's drug Ligadone. So not only is the Usher family well known, they're on trial right now. because a lot of people died from their latest drug, Ligadone, who's been said to have addictive property,
Yeah.
and the whole family is essentially on trial right now
Yeah.
because they're all part of like the same machine. Dupin mentions an informant within the family, and Roderick recounts a fateful encounter with a mysterious woman named Verna, who foretold a life-altering change for the siblings during the New Year's Eve of 1979. Now, this is the first episode, and that's the first episode right there. So
Yeah.
we got the foundation of what we're working with here.
Yeah, it basically just sets up everything you're going to see, and it gives you all the expectations. You're introduced to the cast.
Now, what did you think of this as, like, I give a lot of leeways with a lot of first episodes,
Yeah.
just because it's like you have to set your foundation here. The first episode's never going to be. Why don't we give like watching it again? It's a pretty solid intro to this series.
Yeah, especially for like a Mike Flanagan series.
Right.
Usually his first episodes tend to be a little bit more slower than this. And that's why it always takes me a couple times to get into one of a series, because that first episode's usually pretty slow. But
just the tone of this whole thing just feels like I want to know what happens next.
oh, yeah.
You're given so much stuff. You have like him. You're introduced to Roderick. You're introduced to the Usher family. You know his kids are dead.
Yeah.
You can see by the hallucinations that they died horribly.
Yeah.
And Roderick is on trial, and he is confessing his sins in his childhood home that's at this point run down.
Completely run down.
Looks very gothic, very like. Of course, there's a storm going on. It is dripping with Edgar Allan Poe tone.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say we don't have to grade each episode, but we can
just grade the 4 at the end altogether.
We can grade the 4 as a whole at the end. But that's episode 1. Is there anything you want to add in addition to before we move on to episode 2?
Yeah, like this is very like Mike Flanagan. You see a lot of people who have been in like all his previous series before, and I kind of enjoy that. It's Mike Flanagan as a director.
He sticks with people who he knows and who he works with well.
Yeah.
He's got his wife on here.
Yeah.
Who played Theo in Hill House.
Yeah. She plays Camille in the series.
He has good taste.
He does, yeah. So, how do you feel about him that he cast his wife and everything? Because I know
some people
like Rob Zombie gets a lot of flack for doing that. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was about to say. And I can't say anything about that, because if I had a wife or girlfriend and she was into movies as much as I am, and she was, really into the stuff, I would put her in my movies. If she, I would try to have her fit in the best place possible, because I know a lot of people don't like Sherry Moon.
Yeah, what's her name? Kate Siegel?
Yes.
I feel like she is actually very talented as an actress.
Yeah, she can act.
I feel like in some of Rob Zombie projects, he kind of forces Sherry Moon in, where it doesn't make sense.
I can definitely see that.
Like Halloween 2, the whole White Horse thing, just to get her in. Yeah.
Yeah. She plays. It's not like she's. And plus, she doesn't really play main character. She plays. She's good supporting cast. Yeah,
she's never like the main character. Always in the supporting roles, and she's always one of the. She usually ends up being one of my favorite characters.
She plays a bitch in this movie or in this series.
Yeah,
but does. I mean, pardon my language, but she kind of played that the same like in Hill House too, but not like the
same.
Not the same, but a hint of it. I mean, she did sleep with.
She slept with her. She was cold,
but she also slept with her sister's husband.
No, she made out with them in the closet.
I thought they hooked up at one point.
No, it was just like one of those.
But that's still an asshole thing to do.
Yeah.
So, but she's not nearly like that in House of Usher. She's more. She's rich bitch in this one.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is episode 1. Should I go ahead and lead us into the second episode here?
Yeah, let's go into episode 2.
The Mask of the Red Death. Now, I did not know much about Mask. A lot of these titles, I know a lot more of the poems than I do the longer stories.
Yeah.
And so Mask of the Red Death was another one I can't really... I'm a Poe fan, but probably just casually.
Yeah, same here.
All right, let me go ahead and read this out here. In 1979, Dupin investigates grave exhumations linked to a drug trial. The younger Roderick, living with Madeline, his first wife Annabelle Lee, and younger children Frederick and Tamerlane, he fails a pitch of Ligadone to Fortunato's CEO Rufus Griswold, who succeeded Longfellow. All right, so this starts out. We're in a prequel here. before he was, rich and everything, he came from humble beginnings, Roderick.
Yeah, one bedroom apartment type deal.
Him and his sister did not get any of that Fortunato money.
No.
So they basically have had to claw and scrape their way to basically it's weird because young Roderick works at Fortunato, but he's like, or at this point, does he not work for her? But he tries to
He
pitch
works in
a
the mailroom.
mailroom, and he has a pitch for this new drug. Was he pitching Liquidone it was
Yeah,
Liquidone that he was pitching.
Liquidone, yeah.
And the guy, he's like not. You can. This is one of those classic instances. Is how do you make somebody like Roderick, who we find out is like an awful person? How do you make somebody more like? How do you dislike him, or or how do you make him sympathetic? Give somebody else who is even more of an asshole some time to shine.
Yeah, and you also get Matt Saracen to play him.
Yes, and this dude just oozes douche.
Rufus, well, he's like, listen, that kind of sucks because drugs are just such a headache.
And I'll tell you what, though, he does a good pitch.
Yeah,
He does a pitch. He basically is lining up all of his ducks in a row, saying, "I could do this. It does this, and this is how you sell it." It's basically he's selling a cure-all.
yeah.
Is essentially what it's marketed as. Anywho, so yeah, the Rufus is the guy who basically took over after their biological father died. Okay, so we see that he failed a pitch to that. In the present, Perry, Frederick, and Pym must deal with environmental concerns involving their properties. When Frederick insults Perry, Perry decides to host a masquerade-themed party at one of the condemned properties to prove his worth, using water from the facility's tanks to signal an orgy. All right, so this is who Perry is here.
The youngest of the children.
And the one who's
he's just a partier, yeah.
He's the one. He is the typical Gen Z rich person influencer, and he's trying to. This is his time to shine, basically, where he's pitching an idea to Roderick.
Yeah,
and his idea is, I mean, I don't know how there's money in this, but pop-up orgy clubs.
Well, he pitched exclusive nightclubs with membership fees.
Yeah, I get that,
and that's where you make your money is through the membership fees.
It's like he's supposedly going to be the idea is I'm going to host these orgy parties, but only the richest of the rich can attend, like some eyes wide shut stuff.
Yeah,
and so he's using one of Roderick's old condemned properties, and it's like, oh, this is good. We'll save money by using this old condemned building, and then
we'll see when I make $1 million pop out of nowhere.
I love that. I say that I find it hilarious, but as we find out later, apparently it works. Because and he's constantly butting heads with the eldest of the family, who is what's the eldest one's the oldest?
His name's Frederick, but
Frederick, yeah.
All the other siblings call him Froderick because
now I think that
in that his job, yeah.
This would be a good time to kind of dive into the sibling dynamics we have here.
Yeah.
This will be a good idea to kind of show, because these are not all siblings from the same family.
Yeah.
They tend to be kind of split. You got
Frederick and Tamerlane, who are from Roderick's
very first kids.
Yeah, they're like the kids, and then the other four are called the bastard.
Because they're from Roderick is a rich man and he does what rich people do, and that means he bangs without condoms as much as he can. So,
and he said he's never going to do what his father did. So
yeah,
if you're an usher, you're in. The gate's open for you.
Say what you want about him. That's actually a pretty cool, cool thing. The dude is a bastard, but he says, I don't care who I had relations with. If you're my kid, you're my kid. You're going to be in this family.
And you see the kids are, different races and from different backgrounds.
So, but they kind of split off. You have those over there. You have the bastards, and you have they tend to kind of hang out together, and then you also have their spouses or their significant others. You have some who obviously married just for wealth. You have some who one that seemingly it was just like an honest relationship with Frederick and what's Frederick's? Frederick is his oldest, and he is the one who also has a granddaughter who Roderick very much likes.
Lenore is Frederick's daughter, and his wife is Morella.
And the granddaughter, is essentially the only non-douchebag group of this entire family.
Yeah.
And I think even Roderick and Madeline, and I'll tell this about Madeline, and you get this from the first two episodes, their relationship between Roderick and Madeline, they're very, very close.
Yeah.
But you can tell that Madeline is very, very cutthroat.
She will do anything it takes to make it to the top.
But they both have a soft spot for for Roderick's granddaughter, her grandniece, I believe.
Yeah. They have a soft spot for family.
They have a soft spot for family.
Because growing up, it was just the two of them, so.
But I think they also like her just because she doesn't ask for anything.
No, she doesn't.
So, anywho, let's back up. So now we have this orgy party that Perry's trying to do here. Roderick is suffering from something called Cadisil. Suffering from Cadisil, pins his hope on Victorine's experimental heart mesh, while Madeline seeks to create an AI using Lenore's memories. So they're getting older. Madeline and Roderick are getting older, and they're like, we're not going to be around. Roderick is sick from something, and one of his daughters is working on like artificial organs. She has like her own animal research facility. And on the other end, Madeline, her big project is, I basically want to be immortal, is essentially her idea. So she's trying to create this AI that will, if you have it, it'll kind of absorb your memories, your essentially an AI version of you that can live on after your physical body dies.
Yeah.
So anyway, which I understand the idea, but it still wouldn't be you. Like,
no. Yeah.
So, but that's what they're doing. They're at the end of their like lives and they know it, and they're trying to expand it as much as they can. Perry invites Frederick's frustrated wife Morella to his party, planning to seduce her as revenge for his brother's disrespect to him. Yeah, so like I said, Perry and Frederick are always butting heads. So Perry's like, "All right, I'm gonna sleep with his wife.
Yeah, I'm gonna bang your wife. Bro.
I'm gonna bang your wife, bro. I'm gonna invite her." And the thing is, I don't know how much older she is than him, but she's old enough to know better.
Yeah,
because she's definitely like in her 40s, and
she's like early 40s. He's like early 20s.
And that dude has some confidence. Well, first off, for both of them, I don't know what your plan is. Like, if you're Perry, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna invite my brother. That this will smooth things over with him. I'm gonna bang his wife. Yeah. And if you're her, you just know this family. You know that he's gonna lord it over you, or he's gonna use it as leverage.
Yeah, like that was just stupid. I'm like, really?
Yeah. Oh, plus this is like an old rundown facility. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go bang my husband's little brother in this old, dirty, tetanus-filled, rundown building. Anyway, so she eventually agrees. She arrives at the party in disguise and gives Perry, Verna, sorry. You know who also shows up is this woman named Verna. Let's talk about Verna for a second.
Yeah. You see her originally at the bar in 1979 with Roderick and Madeline. And you see in this one that she hasn't aged at all. Yet she's in present day at Perry's party.
Yeah, we see her in passing in a flashback. There's a party at a bar sometime in the 1970s, but we don't know. There's like a whole story involving that we get bits and pieces of as the show goes on. But yes, like Dave said, It's been decades and she has not aged. And it is played by
someone from Hill House. What's her name?
Carla, I believe. I didn't want to mess up the last name. It was a Gugiona. Carla
Gugiona, something like that. Yeah.
Yes, Spy Kid's mom.
Yeah.
Or also from Mike Flanagan, Gugino.
Gugino, yeah.
Also from Gerard's Game, she also likes to, hang with Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, she's in a lot of his stuff, yeah.
And she's at the orgy party in disguise, wearing a red outfit, Mask of the Red Death. And she gives
Perry a chance because she talks to him about consequences, saying he doesn't want to do this.
Yes.
And he's like, I think I do.
He thinks she's talking about hooking up.
Yeah.
And she just leaves him with blue balls.
Yeah, leaves him. She gets all the bartenders and servers out of there. Warns Morella to leave.
Yeah, Morella, let me tell you this. At one point, you look around and you just see all of the staff just making a beeline for the exit. And you have this woman going around, whispering. She goes to Morella and said, you should probably leave.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, if I saw, all the staff just immediately leaving, you don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out.
Yeah.
She didn't.
She kind of stood there for a little bit, and then she decided to try to leave, but it's too late.
It's too late. The sprinklers come on, which was supposed to signify the whole big thing is that you have this big party, everybody's doing drugs, and then the sprinklers are going to go off, and that's going to signal the big orgy. And the sprinkler spray turns out to be acid and chemical waste,
Instead of the water they expected.
and you just see everybody's skin just melting.
Yeah.
It like this gives the opening Blade scene a run for its money in terms of like a sprinkler system thing. These people and Perry included.
Yeah.
Perry's skinned alive, and so is Morella. And just before he dies, Myrna comes over, gives him a little kiss on the head, and he dies. That's the end of episode 2.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine if something like that happened in real life.
And you're just
Because you heard Perry talking about the people there.
yeah.
He's like, yeah, there's a politician, there's another politician. We got a draft pick. Oh yeah, that's that famous actor.
How are you not How is you and your company not screwed?
Yeah.
Like politicians, everything like that, and it was it was unsanctioned, by the way.
Yeah.
Roderick said, "Yo, there's no money in something like this. Like
Yeah.
pop up orgy things. There's no money in this." So Perry essentially did it just to prove himself. Essentially, at this point, this is the first really graphic scene of the series.
Yeah.
Because you see a little bit of whatever in the first episode, and then the second episode, it's building up, and building up, and then at the very end, you just see all of this card. You're like, holy shit!
Yeah.
And then you're like, is this what it's going to be for the rest of the show? What do you do next?
Right.
Like this seems like it would have been like the season finale thing to happen.
Yeah. Because it was like hundreds of people died.
So Perry or Prospero, right?
Yeah. Prospero, Perry.
They're all it's kind of named from Edgar Allan Poe stories. And so Perry is the first of the children to die, and he died by basically getting all of his skin peeled away in a chemical bath. Next one, where we're centering around old Flanagan's girl
Yeah.
in the Murder in the Rue Morgue. Do you know this one at all?
No.
We're movie aficionados, not Edgar Allan Poe aficionados, apparently. Yeah. So, moving on. In a flashback, Griswold, Rufus, takes credit for Ligadone, forcing Roderick to accept this in exchange for potentially increasing his influence at Fortunato. So, his pitch...
I really like this. Like, the whole thing going on back in the day.
Oh, that it keeps jumping to, like... the stuff that keeps happening in the flashbacks relate to the stuff that's going on now.
No, but in this particular episode, it really shows how cutthroat Madeline is.
Oh, yeah. Madeline, we get glimpses of... We start getting more glimpses of she is conniving.
Yeah. Willa Fitzgerald crushes it in this episode.
I love it because she reminds me of my own sister. That's why me and my sister are very much Roderick and Madeline. We just need to start making some bodies and starting our own pharmaceutical company.
Yeah. She's like, listen, he stole your idea, but you're in the inner circle.
She's the one basically on his... Yeah, go ahead.
She's basically the one telling Roderick what to do.
Whisper in his ear, like, stop being a pussy and get in there. And...
So they could get control of the company. She's like, yeah, just smile, act like everything's fine. Become his best friend.
That way you can stab him in the back when it's time.
Yeah, and when it's time, you give this guy a call, who is...
Oh, so essentially what happened is Roderick pitched this Ligadone idea, and initially, the guy's name is Rufus, right? Griswold?
Yeah, Rufus Griswold, yeah.
Rufus Griswold is like, that's not going to sell, and hey, look, and then he's like, I'm going to give you $200, and I'm going to take this...
500
Or 500, sorry, $500, and call it a finder's fee, and you keep this up, you'll have an office right down the thing next to mine because you're not taking into account like manufacturing and all this. You're just bringing me an idea. So essentially, he gets his idea stolen from him.
Yeah, because instead of doing what he pitched, he bought the company that was making Ligadone. Well, he like bought that lab, the company that controlled that lab.
Yeah.
Instead of just buying the rights for Ligadone or something like that. And he's like, see, you didn't have the juice for your idea, but you're good. It was a good idea.
He wants to keep him around as an idea man, essentially, and just pick his ideas and give him, like, scraps on the side. Again, the way you make an asshole likable is you introduce another asshole.
Yeah.
Anywho, and in the present, Pym, I believe that's the lawyer, identifies Perry's body and a badly burned Morella, the only survivor. Yeah, so Luke Skywalker, the enforcer, He's the one that they is first on the scene whenever there's an incident because he has
Yeah,
to do damage control.
he's their cleaner.
Yeah, he has to go like, all right, are there any security tapes? Get them and burn them. Are there any things that can link the Fortunato family to this? Scrub it. And yeah, Fortunato, he identifies Fortunato, or not Fortunato, Perry,
Yeah.
and Morello, the wife. She is alive but not well.
No,
Um,
she goes through it in the series.
I do not know the exact percentage of her entire body that was like burned, but it's definitely in the 90s. And you just see her and you're like, oh god. But you're also thinking when Frederick finds out, he's gonna have some questions like, why was she there?
Yeah,
But anywho, man, that's rough too, because it's not like she was a bad person, but at the same time, you're watching, you go, you didn't deserve all that, but at the same time, what were you even doing there?
yeah, could have been worse.
Yeah, so Roderick confesses to Dupin that he had hid the corrosive waste in those tanks to avoid federal regulation. So the reason why all their skin got burned away is because he was cutting corners when it came to getting rid of a bunch of like toxic waste.
And also, you find out that those buildings were supposed to be taken down throughout the year. And Frederick's like, well, I mean, I couldn't do it with all the regulations and everything. And Roderick's like, call the Jersey boys and do it in the middle of the night. It's not difficult. Just break the fucking law.
Just break the law, dude.
Yeah.
Come on, what's the deal?
You know how we run in this family.
Yeah, but Perry's death was directly a result from the negligence of Roderick.
Yeah.
Like, so he indirectly caused his son's death by cutting regulations and storing the water where he did.
Yeah.
Even though Perry was a dipshit for not getting the water tested anyway. So what was his thing? Like, I'm gonna do this old building and just trust that this water is up to code.
All his tanks are good. Yeah.
In this run-down building.
Yeah. Well, you got to think he's a rich kid in his early 20s.
Yeah, I'm just
All he
saying.
had to really never really think about anything like that, like rusted pipes or anything like that. Never had to deal with it.
Yeah. All right. So, like I say, that Roderick is indirectly responsible, but at the same time, Perry was a dumbass.
Yeah.
So, anywho, Camille discovers that Victorine's illegal heart mesh tests on animals were unsuccessful. So, Camille and Victorine are
Have
a couple.
really like intense sibling rivalry type thing going.
Oh, sorry. I got. Wait, I thought Camille. Wait, who's Victorine's lover?
Ooh, I don't remember her name.
I think
another doctor at the place.
I thought that was Camille. Camille is that Katie?
Yeah, Kate Siegel.
Kate Siegel, that's right.
Right
Okay.
hair, yeah.
Camille discovers that Victorine's illegal heart mesh tests on animals were unsuccessful. So Victorine is trying to make this like artificial heart because she knows that her dad's dying. Or no, she doesn't know her dad's dying, but her dad has made this like
pressuring her to move
priority
testing. Yeah,
yeah. But she doesn't know he's dying, but this is secretly for him, but she doesn't know it. And they're testing on all these apes, and the apes keep dying. And Camille does not like Victorine. Is there a reason why, or is it just I forget? Is it because, or is it just they just don't like each other because they're siblings?
Yeah, it's never really explained like an explicit reason. I just assumed it's like a sibling rivalry type thing.
There's only one or two siblings that actually like really really care for each other.
Yeah,
they're all kind of just doing their own things. It's unsuccessful. But Victorine is still telling like Roderick, "Oh, it's gonna be okay. Yeah, it's going along great." Because she wants to
track. Yeah,
because she wants if this works, then it's like essentially she'll have as much funding as she ever needs in the future. Because Roderick will be so like grateful he'll fund whatever she wants.
Yeah, basically all the kids' motivation is to impress Roderick.
Yeah, money comes down to everything.
Yeah,
because they're trying to. Everybody wants to show that I am the true.
The money,
yeah, I'm the true like heir to the throne of this.
Yeah.
So, and don't forget at the beginning, Dupin, the one who's bringing them to trial for the whole drug thing, he had mentioned that one of the kids is an informant.
Yeah.
So they're all like arguing amongst themselves throughout the series.
Yeah.
Like I think he's the rat. I think she's the. And Roderick is. Didn't Roderick say if whoever finds it out, I'm going to give him $50 million?
Yeah.
Or some amount of money. Like whoever finds out who this rat is, I'll give them like this many millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Which is another reason for them to just act like assholes to each other.
Basically, yeah.
Verna poses as the first human test subject for Victorine. So old Carl is back, and she keeps coming back as different people. And in this instance, she's coming as somebody who really needs like a heart, a
She has a regular heartbeat, so she wants a
yeah,
heart mesh to
and
monitor that. Yeah,
Victorine knows that this is not ready for human testing, but she's thinking, well, I think that we can make this work.
yeah. Because when Fern first ran into her, she dropped her license, and so Victorine searched her up and everything. Realized she had no family or anything like that. So
Perfect. I just need
if
I
it
need
went wrong, no one's gonna really know. So
it's she's one step close from just grabbing vagrants off the street
yeah,
and trying to do it like that.
basically, yeah,
So Victorine books an illegal surgery without informing her girlfriend and coworker, Dr. Ali Ruiz.
yeah,
Ruiz. She works with her girlfriend, Victorine and Ruiz. Ruiz is ethical.
yeah.
She knows that all of this stuff needs to be tested. Victorine is very much getting to the point where like I'm willing to cut whatever corners I need to make this thing work.
Yeah, you see, that's the tension in the relationship. Is there's times where Victorine does something, she's like, "No, you can't do that because you're messing up the testing here."
Meanwhile, while all that's going on, we have Tamerlane.
Frequent
Tamerlane and her
stalker,
husband,
yeah.
and their relationship is weird. Tamerlane, I don't know if it's that she is just incapable of having an or, but her whole thing is that she likes to have her husband, who is also the spokesperson for her like nutritional
Fitness brand, yeah.
fitness brand. She likes to watch her husband with escorts, like kind of living,
Yeah,
doing.
not hooking up, but having like emotional like date nights and things like that.
It's like she gets off on watching
Emotional,
a healthy relationship.
yeah,
Like she because as like hello, and the reason why we're saying this because who's the escort for this night? It's old Carla again.
yeah,
Well, Verna's here
yeah. I think she just kind of earned for what she had as a child before Roderick made all this money.
because she's
They
like
had a normal family with a mom and dad having things like that.
so yeah. I'm looking at the thing right now. It says specifically. Verna also poses as an escort for Tamerlane's husband, Bill, to fulfill Tamerlane's cuck queen fetish.
Yeah.
Leo believes that he killed Pluto, the black cat of his partner Julius, in a drug-fueled stupor. So now we have Leo. Leo is another one of the kids. He's the gamer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the gamer. And the night before this happens, Camille comes over there. And it's one of a few nice times between siblings.
Camille and Leo,
Just
they're
kinda
part of the
chill.
bastards.
Yeah, eat some edibles and hang out.
They ate some edibles, hang out. You can tell that these two are close.
Yeah.
They're like the siblings. They're part of the bastard group. They're kind of considered assholes themselves, and the only ones that they kind of let their guard down, it looks like, around is like him with her and her with him. So,
Yeah.
and if you don't know, can you tell me the name of the actor who plays Leo? Because the only thing I've ever, not the only thing, but the thing that always comes to mind is I, Zombie, in which he played, he was the friend who worked in the
I
morgue.
don't really remember him from anything.
I've seen him in a few things, but that was the last thing I remember. He was like a quirky, funny character in I, Zombie, which is a good show. If you haven't checked it out, give it a check out. But while you look at that, I'll keep going. But yeah, Leo is in a. We have two siblings who are in. He is in a relationship with his boyfriend, and his boyfriend has a black cat, and he does not like this black cat. He accidentally thinks that he accidentally killed it one day, it's a whole thing. The cat's name's Pluto, and Julius is his boyfriend, and so they're eating edibles. That's how it happened. Is that they were eating edibles, and then the next morning the cat's dead, isn't he? And he thinks that he killed him, and while he was in a drug-filled stupor, he like wakes up and like there's blood, and the cat's like, "Holy shit! This is gonna cause an argument."
Okay, Rahul Kali.
Spell it.
RAHULKOHLI.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, he was also in Midnight Mass and The Haunting of Bly Man.
Okay, cool. Camille encounters Verna posing as a security guard at Victorine's lab. So Camille, I believe she's going to the lab because she wants to get evidence of all the horrid animal testing conditions.
Yeah.
She wants to basically prove to Roderick. She thinks that Victorine is the
Proves
rat.
Roderick that Tamarine's testing isn't working.
Yes. And so she goes over there, and Verna's there as the security guard. She starts saying some ominous stuff to her. and
She's
she
like, you
gets,
shouldn't be here.
yeah, you shouldn't be
You go.
here. Don't you? And Camille puts the whole "Don't you know who I am" card, and she like goes in and she starts taking pictures of all the caged apes and everything like that, and they're all starting to kind of go crazy.
Here's the thing. Like, if you're gonna go in there and take pictures of animals,
Yeah,
turn on the light.
turn on the light.
Yeah, don't freak them out with a flash on your phone.
Plus, you'll get better quality if you turn the lights on.
Yeah.
Like anything looks sinister if you film it in the dark, but like so the animals are going crazy, and then Verna comes up and she gives a monologue, and Camille's like starting to feel she's starting to kind of realize exactly where she is right now.
Yeah.
At night in the middle of a thing filled with pissed off apes,
Yeah.
and or Verna starts monologuing saying, why is it you hate your sister so much? Because you both are so much alike. I think that it's because she was able to hide it so well. And
She's
Katie just kind of it's funny how this happens because at this point you know that Verna is a force that is not a human force.
No.
She's everywhere all at once, and she hasn't aged and all this stuff, and like there's just this aura about her, kind of like of death around her.
Yeah. You see Camille's like confidence fall, and she slowly starts to like quiver in that corner.
And meanwhile, Verna is talking kind of like from the perspective of one of the apes,
Yeah.
saying they torture us, they do this and they do that, and then Carla goes up, or Camille comes up to take a picture, and in the lens you see it's actually an escaped ape.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know if like she was just the mentality or the thing of the ape, but there's some kind of mythical force going on, and Camille basically we don't see it, but she basically gets torn apart by an ape.
Yeah.
And she just accepts it. She just said, fuck it.
Yeah. She's dead now. That's child number 2 down.
That's child number 2 down, and that's episode number 3 down. And it ends with day shift just coming into not something you want to see opening shift.
No, just a dead body there. And the monkey just standing by it like, hey,
what's up? They immediately showed like, who the fuck worked night shift last night?
Yeah.
That's me. Like that would have never happened under my watch.
Yeah.
All right, so that's episode 3. So what did you think of 3? Like, where does this rank? And so far in 1, 2, and 3, how are you liking the show so far?
Yeah, I feel like episode 3, it hasn't been slow, but 3 is where it's really starting to pick up. You're really getting into the meat and potatoes of the reason we're getting flashbacks, and you're understanding the family more.
And you start to see how the titles of these shows relate to what's going to go on in the actual. So, in the Rue Morgue, Murder in the Rue Morgue, if I'm not mistaken, that has to do with like ape in a more thing, doesn't it?
I'm not sure.
I think it does, but that had something to do with it. The one before that, Mask of the Red Death, that she was wearing, that stuff. And there's so many. I wish we had a Edgar Allan Poe aficionado to kind of stop us every so. Did you also notice this? I mean, there's just so much of it.
Yeah.
And yes, so we had a good first episode that laid the foundation. We had a solid like tension building and a what the fuck ending of episode 2. And by 3, we kind of figured, all right, I think that we're going to be having a death per episode.
Yeah.
You start realizing, each of these episodes is dedicated to a death.
Yeah.
Which brings us into the Black Cat.
The Black Cat.
Which was teased. They always tease the next one in the episode that they're on.
Yeah.
So now we're going to be spending some time with Leo. As of right now, of these siblings, who would you say is your least favorite and the one that you, whether acting or otherwise, like?
Well, I think Perry was probably my least favorite. And I think Leo was probably my favorite.
I think
Leo seemed like he was probably the most down to earth out of all of them.
I agree. Because Leo definitely seemed like he was trying to help Perry out by he's a drug dealer, so what? I mean, of the stuff that the Usher family gets up to, doing drugs is the least shady thing. And he's a gamer, and his whole thing is streaming and gaming, and he even tells Perry, like, hey, look, I had to go through the thing myself, whatever, hey, I'll help you and give you some advice for your orgy party.
Yeah.
So, in a flashback, Dupin shows Roderick documents with his signature, which Fortunato forged so initially, remember, this is all a confession to Dupin.
Yeah.
And we find out that Dupin shows Roderick documents with his signature, which Fortunato forged. We find out later that they weren't always enemies.
Yeah.
They actually worked together for
Yeah.
on something, and you kind of get a little bit of glimpses of that through episodes 1, 2, and 3 as they talk to each other. Like you could tell they have history with each other,
Yeah. They've known each other a long time.
and you could tell that it was before even the trials that they've known each other. So in the present, Leo adopts a black cat resembling Pluto from Verna to deceive Julia. So yeah, the cat's dead, and he's like, all right, well, next best thing, I need to find another cat. And gets it from old Verna. So,
That cat's not gonna be right.
that cat ain't gonna be right.
Yeah.
But it looks exactly like the cat, so hey, whatever.
Yeah.
So now remember, Camille just died. So Camille's death triggers a family crisis as they no longer have a PR leader. So as each of the kids die, a piece of the Fortunato industry or that they've built kind of takes a blow. She was the big PR person.
Yeah.
She was the one that, like, whatever happened, she was good at spinning stories.
Yeah.
And now with her gone, everyone's like, who are we going to get to? Like, we need our spin person, which is funny. Is like they're not some of them are not so much upset that she's dead, but like, fuck, we need a PR head.
Yeah, we need her to do her job. She's dead. Yeah.
Roderick, Madeline, and Pym identify Verna as the culprit because they've been getting little bits of evidence of this Verna person keeps seeming to crop up around the sites of all of these deaths. And Verna as the culprit, who Madeline recalls meeting on New Year's Eve of 1980. So Madeline is like, I know who that is.
Yeah.
Pym gives Frederick a locked burner phone Perry gave to Morella for the party. Frederick becomes paranoid that Morella was cheating on him, which she wasn't, but she definitely seems like she was on her mind.
There's a chance it could have happened if the acid shower didn't happen.
You could see that Morella didn't deserve what she got.
Yeah.
But you could tell that you could even tell that she was kind of on the fence about it.
Yeah.
Like she might not go through with it. Like she might have just gotten her kicks of just, I went to this party and he didn't know about it kind of thing. Even if I didn't do anything, I still went to this party kind of thing.
Like if Barry would have came onto her, she would have probably pushed him off. Like
she
wasn't even like dancing with anyone at the party. She was just kind of off by herself doing her thing.
She kind of liked the idea of flirting with a little bit of temptation, but not actually going through with it. Was the vibe I was getting.
Exactly, yeah.
But she's still alive, and Frederick, having now knowing that she was there, is now paranoid. Like, and you can tell that this dude is not right behind the eyes.
No,
he's like, and I'll just say he'll have. I'm just gonna leave it like that. for that'll be for later.
Yeah.
Okay. In an attempt to cope, he asks Leo for some drugs because Leo is the drug guy. So Frederick's freaking out. Like, I can't believe she was cheating on me. She was fucking Perry. I don't think he's saying that out loud, but he's like, Leo, give me some drugs.
Right.
Which that's probably why Leo probably gets along. Probably is the sibling that everybody gets along with because they all probably go to him for drugs.
Yeah.
So of the entire group, Leo is probably the chillest.
Right.
He doesn't even seem like he's really that interested in like taking over the empire.
Yeah.
It looks like he just
this episode where you see Leo really start freaking out about stuff.
Yeah.
Like at one point, he even tells Roderick, "I don't care about this anymore. Take me out of the will. Don't give a fuck, and I'm leaving."
Yeah. Now, I'll also say during all this time too, because you might be wondering like why the Usher family is dying like this, and who this woman is, and why all of a sudden, like after all these decades of prosperity, why is now the Usher family? These are just questions that you're starting to kind of like wonder, and you get bits of the story that tells a complete thing by the end of it. Which when we get to the end of this whole thing, we'll just do like kind of like a quick timeline breakdown of like, so it goes like this to this to this.
Yeah.
So Frederick's not happy. He's paranoid. Leo's hooking him up with some drugs. And what's her name? Morella is still. I don't know if she's awake at this point, but she's being kept alive in like
I think she wakes up in this episode and she starts taking like the bandage off her face and she freaks out because she sees herself.
Yeah, so that's not a good way to wake up. That's not a good thing to wake up to.
No.
That like 90% of your skin is gone and you can't move.
Yeah.
So she's in the hospital getting intensive. So Roderick confides in Madeline about his diagnosis, similar to their mother's. The what was that C word I said earlier?
The Kofit or whatever.
It starts with a C-A-S.
Catasil.
Catasil, which is what his mom had. And I don't know the exact symptoms, but it's the reason why his mom slowly died, and it's the reason why he needs Victorine to make this heart.
Yeah.
And so he confides to Madeline. He said, "Yeah, I'm pretty much dying." Meanwhile, this new cat, this Hellcat, we knew it was going to happen. He just lives to fuck with Leo.
Yeah.
Scratching him up, leaving dead animals in his bed, just being a nuisance, and somehow ends up in the wall.
Yeah.
And
Leo starts hammering on the wall.
yeah, he's not taking it well. Because, well, I'm just going to go and say Camille was probably his best friend.
Yeah.
And she's dead. He's taking it horribly. Things are strained with his boyfriend, and this cat won't stop fucking with him and won't stop scratching him. Leo brings Verna, the Verna when she was the one who we got the cat from.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, take this cat back," and accidentally gouges Pluto's eye out, with Verna showing the same injuries. He trashes the apartment in search of Pluto.
Yeah.
He banging his apartment, which was a very nice looking place.
Yeah, like a New York City loft. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool, my style. And now there's holes in the wall, and not decorative. And he trashed the apartment looking for it, and it turns out it was all It was the whole thing a hallucination.
Because he sees a cat on the balcony, goes after it, falls off.
He goes to which you kind of see it like getting set. I'll say this about this: he gets the lamest death. I'll say.
Yeah. So
he goes.
Lands.
Yeah.
It's like 20-something stories, lands on the ground. And then the original cat, Pluto, with a collar, walks on his back. So I'm guessing him killing the cat was probably a hallucination from him.
Yeah, him probably killing the cat was a hallucination, and probably this black cat was a hallucination, but he's like... Yeah. So now it just looks like he just killed himself.
Yeah. So he went crazy, destroyed his apartment, then killed himself.
And that's how episode 4 ends with a third child down.
Yeah.
The coolest one, I'll say. The coolest of the kids down.
Yeah.
And that is the first 4 episodes of The Fall of the House of Usher. And this is the first time we're ever going to say, stay tuned.
Yeah, part 2.
This is going to be a 2-parter, which we've never done before. So, as of right now, we have three of the Usher kids dead. That's Camille, Leo, and Perry. We have a mystery unfolding in which we see the origins of Madeline and Roderick. We see how they're at the lowest of the totem pole over at the Fortunato Industries, and they're conniving to do something.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
working their way up this corporate ladder.
And meanwhile, they also find out that there were some forged documents with Roderick's name on it for some reason. Like, I didn't sign these.
Yeah.
And who is this Verna person? Why does she not age after these many decades?
And why is she going after the Usher family? You'll find all that out in part 2.
Find that out in part 2. And how are you liking this so far? We said we were going to grade the first 4 episodes here.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So technicals.
Very stylistic.
It is a Mike Flanagan work. So it's going to be well shot. I'm going to give it an 8.8.
I was going to give it an 8.4.
Okay.
Story, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
It manages to tell a bunch of different stories all going on at once. You get stuff from the past, stuff from the present, stuff going on in another past. Sometimes we're in 1976, sometimes we're in 1980.
Yeah.
But
even with all the jumping around, you could still follow the story. It's done in a very good way.
Story, I'm going to give an 8.72.
8.7? Okay. I think I am going to give it, I'm going to go 8 point.
Okay.
Enjoyment.
I'm going to say 8.4 because I think that I would have enjoyed it more if I knew a lot more of the Edgar Allan Poe references. But I'm enjoying it for what it is now.
Yeah.
It's very, very good.
Yeah, same with you. If I got more of the references, I'd probably enjoy it more.
If you're an aficionado, this is dripping with it.
Yeah. So I'm going to go 8.2 on the enjoyment.
Yeah, but I mean, anything that's in an 8 for me
Yeah.
is high praises. Like I said, I think the only ones that might have gotten nines or the highest are the Menu and I don't know. I think there was like one other that got like super high score, but the Menu is the one that comes to my mind.
Yeah, so for me, it got a 25.3 out of 30, and you gave it 25.5 out of 30.
So needless to say, it's good.
Very good, yeah.
And I kind of like going through them with this with the episode guide in my hand, just so
Yeah.
we can say it and then paraphrase it. And yeah, so sorry if if it feels like I've been hogging all the time, but I'm like reading it.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys for listening. So stay part for part 2.
Coming up soon.
Have a good week, everyone.
Later. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to Body Bag Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave us a comment as to what you'd like to hear us review or any horror movie topics you'd like to hear us rant and rave about.
And while you're at it, you can find us on Twitter at BodyBagPod and on Instagram at BodyBagPodcast.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time.